Thank you all for coming. As you all know that we are learning, we are walking through the Bible. We walk through the places in Israel, and also we walk through the mountains. We walk through River Jordan last week. And this week we will go into the other rivers. Very interesting incidents happen in those places. Because when you read, normally we don't come across these places very often. Only when you read Bible, you remember, you will come across. Today I was reading about Jehu, the Israelite king who executed a lot of people, and I have read it before, but it's gone out of mind. Many things are there in the Bible. So I hope this, by teaching all this, you will remember the incident happened in those places. Walk through the Bible, 11th part now. We are learning the 11th part, rivers of Israel. See, last week we learned about the 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden. And those are very important exclusively, those 2 rivers, River Nile and River Euphrates. Because God made a covenant with Abraham that on that day, Lord, he made a covenant with Abraham saying, to your offspring, I give this land. The land from the river Euphrates, that is in Iraq, and from the river in Egypt, that is Nile River. These are the 2 rivers mentioned in the Bible. Even the other day, while I was watching the news about Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu was talking about this promise given to Abraham. You see, there are 10, the land of Kenites, Kenizzites, it goes on like that. Nearly 10 tribes are mentioned there. God promised to Abraham that I'll give this land, but it has not happened yet. Very soon in future, it might happen. So this is the area promised by God to Abraham, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates. Let's go back to continue our study about the rivers. The next river is about river Kishon. I have given all the pictures from the internet. I have compiled all the pictures and brought it for your notification. For your, it will be interesting to see the places, the literal pictures. River Kishon is a place where Elijah confronted with the Israelites. With the group of Ahab, the Baal worshippers, Baal worshippers. It was the confrontation with the prophets of Baal while Ahab was the king in Israel. This is the place where, that is in Mount Carmel. There is a valley coming down. You see here, this is the picture, River Kishon. This is a valley. It is a large valley. And at the bottom of the valley is the river Kishon. On Mount Carmel, Elijah was having the confrontation. You remember all the stories. I don't want to repeat it again. These are different pictures given here. So, Mount Carmel is the place where Elijah went to battle the pagan prophets of Baal. The God of Israel demonstrated that God is the real God. Now, we saw last week, while we were talking about Mount Carmel, I showed you this slide. He said, summon all the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel. Who challenged? Elijah challenged them. Bring all the people. And you bring your prophets also. Baal, 50 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah, almost 850 prophets. He invited, challenged. Let's see who is God. Your God or my God? Jehovah. So he won the race, and then Elijah seized all the prophets because, he was very angry. It was proved that the God of Israel is God, real. He is the creator. So Elijah told them, seize all the prophets of Baal. Do not let one of them escape. He told them very clearly. You see here? So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook of Kishon. This is the brook. On top is Mount Carmel. You see? And he told to kill every prophets of Baal. He won. Same way it happened when Jehu, he was the king of Israel. Elisha told his assistant, go and tell Jehu that the Lord is anointing him as the king of Israel, while he was not a king. Probably he was second after the king, one of the commanders. So the assistant went to see there, to see Jehu. Jehu asked, what is it? I want to talk to you personally. So he took him inside the room. Jehu told that the Lord wants to anoint you as the king of Israel. And he wants you to destroy, completely wipe out the dynasty of Ahab. Ahab, wife was Jezebel, and Athaliah, all this group. And Jehu took revenge. He completely destroyed sons of all Jehu. The king of Ahab. And then he, same like what Elijah did, he did another thing. He invited all the idolaters, those who are worshipping Baal, he invited them to a place, gathered them and deceived them by inviting them that we are going to worship Baal. So please assemble in one place, let us have a celebration. Who? Jehu ordered all the Baal idol worshippers to come and gather in one place, as if he is also going to do sacrifice for idols. So those idol worshippers were so excited that all of them gathered in one place. It's a huge place. But he made other arrangements to lock the complete room. People from all over Israel came. Oh, those who were worshipping idols. When all gathered, he made sure that no Jehovah worshippers are not inside. Only idol worshippers. At the time of sacrifice, he ordered his assistants to kill all the idol worshippers, like Elijah did. And many were slaughtered, all were slaughtered in that room. See, this is how the idol worshippers were destroyed. The upper hand of God was revealed in these incidences. So whenever you come across the place called Mount Carmel, be reminded of river Kishon also, where all the idol worshippers were slaughtered. Mount Carmel is the place where he challenged. If God of Israel is God, your God or my God, let's see. He did all that. He built the altar, repaired the altar, poured water and all that. The next one is river Jabbok. You must have come across the incident, but I want to remind you again. River Jabbok. This is also a very interesting river. See, This is a place, river Jabbok is the place where Jacob wrestled with God. Jacob became Israel. River Jabbok. In Tamil, Yapok Nadi. See, river Jabbok is still there. These places are still literally there. While he was coming from his uncle towards his promised land, he took his family, everyone, all the groups. He met somebody, an enemy, you can say. He doesn't know who is going to fight with him. This is the place where Jacob wrestled with God. The place is called Jabbok, or it's a place, the meaning is wrestling, one of the streams in the east of Jordan. See here? This is the Jabbok river. You see here? River Jabbok. This is river Jordan. The eastern side, east of Jordan. Midway between Sea of Galilee, this is Sea of Galilee, and the Dead Sea. See, midway between Sea of Galilee and Dead Sea is river Jabbok. You know, this is a place promised to 2.5 tribes. You know, the area where river Yarmouk is here, river Jabbok is here. In between this area, you know, the MGR tribes, I told you, remember? Manasseh, Gath and Reuben. Gath and Reuben, single, each tribe, and half of Manasseh was given as a promised land here. So it rises, you know, on the eastern side of mountains of Gilead. This is the mountains of Gilead. It runs a course of about 65 miles. There are a lot of deep ravines are there. You know, these areas full of ravines, brooks, tributaries. There are different names given to this. Wadi. Wadi is commonly found in Middle East. Sorry. While we were working, we used to see wadis, you know. You find water, brook of waters going there. This is the promised place between the Reuben and Manasseh, all that I told you. Jabbok means a stream in eastern Palestine, first named in the history of Jacob as crossed by the patriarch on his return from Padan Aram after leaving Mahanaim. On the bank of this river, he had a strange conflict with an unknown antagonist. Antagonist means one that contends with or opposes another, adversary, opponent. Somebody was opposing him. And the previous night, Jacob took his wives near this river, 2 wives, his 2 female servants, that is a concubine, and his 11 sons, and crossed. Sorry, I'm having. Sorry, this helps me a lot. And his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of Jabbok. While he was, you know, let's go to that portion. He wrestled with God. Genesis 32, let's go. Oh. You see, Jacob went on his way and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, this is a camp of God. So he named that place Mahanaim. On the way, one second. That night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, crossed the ford of Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, they crossed river Jabbok. He sent over all his possessions, so Jacob left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with man. Then the man said, let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless. The man asked him, you know how he blessed him? What is your name? Jacob. Then the man said, your name will no longer be Jacob but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and overcome. See, he wrestled with God and then he overcame. Find your name shall no longer be Jacob. Then no, he became a blessed man. And also, you know what he did? He asked God's name. He asked that man, what is your name? Tell me your name. He said, why do you ask my name? Then he blessed there. So Jacob called that place Peniel. Peniel means it is because I saw God face to face and yet my life was spared. Remember all that. You know, when you come across river Jabbok, you remember Jacob wrestled with God. Mahanaim we saw. You know, our church is Peniel Church. I saw God face to face. Hence it's called Peniel. The sun rose as he passed Peniel and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. So, whenever you remember Jacob, you always remember these incidents. He wrestled with God in river Jabbok. It is a wadi. The next river is the river Arnon. River Arnon, you see here, these are the pictures I brought for you. It is a border between Moab and Amorites. It's mentioned in Numbers. Where is the other picture? I'll show the picture. You see, it's mentioned in Numbers 21-24 as a border between Moab and Amorites. It is here, Arnon. You see here, Dead Sea, in the middle of Dead Sea on the right side, eastern side. You know, these are all the real pictures what I have brought here. These are all different. You see here, this is Arnon. This is the one, the red one. The valleys of Arnon in the next verse undoubtedly indicate the numerous wadis contributory to the mainstream. You know, this is the Dead Sea. There are many contributory rivers going on. It formed the southern boundary of the land assigned to Reuben. You see here, I told you that Manasseh, Gad, and Reuben, this is the boundary, the southernmost boundary of the area allotted to Reuben. Reuben comes this side. The Arnon River, this is the one. So next one I'll show you. You can see now. This is the southernmost border of the area given to Reuben, River Arnon. From there they journeyed and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that comes out of the border of Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, Ammonites, Moabites, between Moab and Amorites. If you go to 24, Numbers 21, 24, Israel, however, put him to the sword and took over his land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, as far as the Amorites, because their border was fortified. While the Israelites were conquering the land, they conquered this area as well. Arnon, River Arnon. These are all the major rivers. It is mentioned, if you read this Numbers 21, you will find the details about these areas. It is the land assigned to Reuben. Deuteronomy 3:12. If you see, I'll show you Deuteronomy 3:12. Deuteronomy. After land that we took over at that time, I gave the Reubenites and Gadites the territory north of Arior by the Arnon gods, including half the hill country of Gilead, together with the towns. See, when you say Gilead, see the rest of Gilead and also Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half tribe of Manasseh. These are the areas I told you that, but to the Reubenites and Gadites, I gave the territory extending from Gilead down to the Arnon gods. So these are Manasseh, Gath and Arnon, Gath and Reuben. They occupied this Gilead area. Okay, let's go to next one. Zered is a wadi. Zered, wadi of Zered. See here, wadi. This is a Zered wadi, stream. It's a, let's see, Zered, luxuriance, willow bush, a brook or valley communicating with the Dead Sea. Near its southern extremity is called the brook of willows and the river of wilderness in Amos 6:14. It has been identified with the Wadi of El-Aqsa, or they say El-Aqsa also. Before they reached Arnon, they camped here, where in the Wadi of Zered. If you read Deuteronomy 2:13-14, see Deuteronomy 2. And the Lord said, now get up and cross the Zered valley. So we crossed the Zered valley 38 years passed from the time we left Kadesh Barnea until we crossed the Zered Valley. You know, God sent about 40 spies, 12 spies to spy the land, Israel. They went nearly 40 days, going 20 days, coming back 20 days. They came back and gave wrong report, except Joshua and Caleb. So because they gave the wrong report, God punished them. They had to travel 40 years altogether. 2 years over, 38 years. Now they are reaching the Zered Valley. This is a place where they reached after Zered Valley. So I would say that when they reach the Zered Valley, then Moabite plain is there, Sittim Valley is there, where Deuteronomy was written by Moses. Now he was worried about the Israelites. I told you the young generation are to cross the land. So the Zered Valley is a knuckle. In Hebrew, it means it's a brook. It's a stream where Israel camped before they reached river Arnon. Now, we read already. In 2:13, the crossing of brook Zered marks the end of 30 years. Why 38 years? Only few chapters are allotted for the wandering of 38 years. They are not very important because they disobeyed God. God punished them. God has not given any importance to these 38 years of wandering. Only 3 to 4 chapters are written about their wanderings. So he said in 13 that now arise and cross over the brook Zered yourselves. So we cross the brook Zered. Zered Wadi. See, 38 years passed from the time they left from Kadesh Barnea. From there only God sent the spies to spy the land. They went all the way up to Dan. I showed you last week, Dan to Beersheba. Beersheba to Dan, down top. By then, the entire generation of fighting men had perished from the camp. This is remember, whenever we remember the Zered Wadi, remember all those who came from Egypt almost perished. The old generation is gone. Those who are born on the way are alive. Only 2 are entitled to enter the land of Canaan, Joshua and Caleb, not even Moses. So when they came to Zered Valley, that if you read the book of Numbers, there are 2 statistics taken in the beginning and at the last. And the second statistics is about taken with a gap of 40 years. No, almost 39 years. The new generations are there, so hence they took a second statistics. That's why the book is called Numbers. So Zered Wadi is a place where they landed after 38 years. Now the brook of Bezor. No, this is Besor brook. Brook of Bezor is, somewhere it is here. You see here? On the Judea side, southern Besor brook. What happened in Besor brook? Let's see. Besor means cheerful. The meaning of Besor. It's about during the time of David. It happened, from Ziklag. They captured the wives and children of David and they had to go and fight against the Philistines. This is the place. Every area has a meaning. I think the previous places I did not bring the meaning like this. Besor means cheerful. A stream, torrent bed, or wadi in extreme South Judah in Philistia. Called a ravine brook. It's a brook. West of Judah, where 200 of David's men stayed behind as they were faint or weak. They refused to go, wage war against the Philistines, Amalekites, while the 400 people pursued the Amalekites. See, this is the picture. It's here. Besor Brook. Brook of Besor. This is the place. David went, you see here, and came the brook of Besor, where those left behind remained. They stayed back. They did not go. 200 of them stayed back. Let's see. 1 Samuel 33 to 10. Now you will know the story. I want to take you there. 1 Samuel 3. Yeah. 1 Samuel 30. See, David and his men reached Ziklag on the third day. The Amalekites had raided the Negev and Ziklag. They attacked Ziklag and burned it and taken captive the woman and everyone else in it, both young and old. They killed none of them but carried them off as they went on their way. When David and his men reached Ziklag, they found it destroyed by fire. See here. And their wives and sons and daughters taken captive. So David and his men wept aloud until they had no strength left to weep. David's two wives had been captured, Ahinoam and Jezreel and Abigail. Ahinoam of Jezreel, Abigail. David was greatly distressed because the men were taking of stoning him. Each one was bitter in spirit because of the sons and daughters. But David found strength in the Lord his God. Then David said, Abiathar the priest, the son of Ahimelech, bring me the ephod. Abiathar brought it to him, and David inquired the Lord, shall I pursue the raiding? Will I take over them? Pursue them, God answered. You will certainly overtake them, and succeeded in the rescue. Now they are going to fight against the Amalekites. David and 600 men with him came to the Besor valley. See here. This is the point of our discussion. Where some stayed behind. 200 were exhausted to cross the valley, but David and the other 400 continued to pursue it. They found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David. They gave him water to drink. He ate and revived. He had not eaten any food or drunk any water for 3 days, 3 nights. David asked him, why do you belong? Who do you belong to? Where do you come from? The Egyptian says, I am a slave of an Amalekite. My master abandoned me when I became ill. When he was sick, the Amalekites left him. We raided the Negev of Kerethites, some territory belonging to Judah, Negev, etc., etc. David asked him, can you lead me down to this raiding party? So they went and fought. They won the war. That's the detail about it. So, Besor Brook, It's a place where some stayed back and David went and fought. We read about it. Then, next one is the valley. There are many valleys. Valley of, they call it Ayalon, or in English, some people say Aijalon. But the proper meaning, proper pronunciation in Hebrew is Ayalon. In Tamil also it's called Ayalon. Ayalon Pallatak, Valley of Ayalon. This is related to Joshua. They were conquering the lands. After reaching Canaan, they conquered, they fought against it. In Joshua, you will find it. They conquered the land. The period of conquering. Then the period of judges comes. During this period, they lost in Ai, because Achan deceived. He took the valuable materials and dug it in his house. God was angry. He said the whole Israelites committed sin. When one man committed sin, it became the whole of Israel. Then later they were going to fight against the city. The Gibeonites came and complained to Joshua for help. See here, Ayalon, the field of deer. Levitical city in Dan, 14 miles, 25 kilometers northwest of Jerusalem. Then the Benjamites of Judah took that place. City of Zebulun is unknown. Okay. Ayalon means it's a place of deer, a town and valley originally assigned to the tribe of Dan. And the Dan people could not, you see here, this is the Ayalon valley. And they could not drive out the Amorites. So what happened? The tribe of Dan moved away from here to here, north. So Ayalon, this is the valley. Okay. It was one of the Levitical cities given to the Kohathites. It is not far from Bethshemesh. It was the boundary between the kingdom of Judah and Israel. See, kingdom of Judah and Israel is here. This side is Israel, this side is Judah. So almost like a boundary. It is mentioned in Jewish history. Valley of Ayalon, you know what happened? The Gibeonites sent word to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal. He was in Gilgal. And they were afraid. The Gibeonites made an agreement with, there is a story, you go back and read. Joshua 7, 8, 9, 10, all that, you will get all the details about it. And the Gibeonites requested Joshua, do not abandon us. Come to us quickly and help us. Because there are many kings together are coming against them. Amorite kings. From the hill country, they made a federation. They joined together. They were going to attack the Gibeonites. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his entire army, including all the best fighting men. The Lord told him, do not be afraid of them. I have given them into your hand. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. While they were fighting against those Amorite kings, this is the incident happened, the miracle happened there. The sun stood still in Ayalon. It is a valley where the sun stood still. With reference to the valley named after the town, Joshua uttered the celebrated command, "Sun, stand thou still on Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ayalon." It has been identified as the modern Yalo at the foot of the Beth Horon Pass. Beth means house. So it stood still. They were able to fight and win the land of Gibeonites. Joshua 10th chapter 12 to 14, it says that on that day, the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel. Joshua said to the Lord in the presence, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ayalon." So as he told, the sun stood still and the moon stopped till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. You know, the sun stood still. This is still a miracle. The researchers still agree that the time is missing in that period. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. It's a big miracle in the history. There has never been a day like it before, since a day when the Lord listened to human beings. God, the Lord, was fighting for Israel. So when it comes to Island Valley, remember the sun stood still there until they won the war. Then a very interesting valley is the valley of Sorek. You know, valley of Sorek is very interesting. Delilah is from the valley of Sorek. Samson and Delilah. You have to know the story, you know, very interesting. Sorek means choice wines. Wines. Vines. It's also a valley where this fellow Samson used to frequently visit. This is a Sorek, the translated word, and then this is the meaning, choice wines. Valley of fertile spot, you can say. See here? That's a torrent bed. Now the Wadi Surar, valley of fertile spot, where it drains the western Judean hills. Let's go to Judges 16th chapter. Judges 16th chapter, you will know about it. Sorek Valley. Judges. One day, Samson went to Gaza where he saw a prostitute. Gaza is here. You see here? Gaza, Sorek, valley of Sorek is here. Hebron is here. This is the place. See here? One day, Samson went to Gaza where he saw a prostitute. This is here. Gaza. The people of Gaza were told Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night in the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying at dawn we will kill him. But Samson somehow lay there only until the middle of the night. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate. Together with the two posts, he tore them loose, bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. No, this fellow was never stayed. He was going. He went to a prostitute in Gaza. Now you see here, sometime later, he fell in love with the woman in the valley of Sorek. And the rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, see, if you can lure him into showing you the secret of great strength and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up, subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1100 shekels. You see, these are all the stories happen. Sorek, Valley of Sorek. So, Valley of Sorek is choice wine. Somehow they caught him and then the story goes on. I don't want to give you more details about it. Okay, another 10 minutes. Now, I want to take you through the valley of Eshkol. Valley of Eshkol. Eshkol means cluster. You see the grapes? This is so heavy. When the Israelites were going to spy the land, they brought the cluster of grapes by two poles. Two people were carrying it in a big pole. Eshkol, I so told you that Eshkol means cluster. Like a cluster of grapes. You know, there is another word, segol. It's in Hebrew grammar, you will come across the word segol. So the cluster of grapes, this is the tourism symbol for them. You see the Valley of Eshkol? This is a symbol of tourism. The middle I have given you. We will learn about the Valley of Eshkol, what happened to how the Israelites went from Kadesh Barnea to all the way to Dan and came back. The place is called Valley of Eshkol because of the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. In Numbers 13, you will learn it. You see the cluster. Eshkol means cluster. This is an area in Hebron, Eshkol. See, despite the route, you see, let's see the route of spice. From here, all the way from here to Kadesh Barnea to here, north end, they went and came back. I want to take you through Numbers 13. See, exploring Canaan. The Lord said to Moses, send some men to explore the land of Canaan. Actually, if you read the book of Deuteronomy, when Moses was telling them, he said that you people wanted me to send a spy. Actually, the Israelites wanted Moses to send some people to explore the land. Hence, people requested, God allowed Moses to send some people to explore the land. See here? So, from each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders. That means 12 people were sent. So, the Lord's command, Moses sent them out from desert Paran. You see here, Kadesh Barnea. This is the desert Paran. All of them were leaders of Israelites. These are the names mentioned here. I don't want to go through all the names. These are the names of men Moses sent to explore the land. Moses gave Hoshea, son of Nun, the name Joshua. You see, this is the Paran desert. Kadesh Barnea to all the way to the end. They went. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, go through the Negev, and on into the hill country, see what the land is like, whether people who live there are strong or few or many, what kind of land they live in, is it good or bad, what kind of towns they have, are they unwalled or fortified, whether we can win the city easily or not, how is the soil, is it fertile or not, poor, are there trees in it or not, because they want to see the land. God promised already it's a land flowing with honey and milk. However, they still wanted to know what kind of land God is giving. And do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land. It was a season for the first ripe grapes, I told you. So they went up and explored the land from desert Sin as far as Rehob toward the Lebo Hamath. They went up through Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Shesai, Talmai, the descendants of Anak lived. Enemies. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. When they reached the valley of Eshcol, see, I told you Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol because the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. See, if God willing, next week I will teach you about why God punished them also. I want to take this as an opportunity. See, they came back to Moses and Aaron, the whole Israelite community at Kadesh, that is Kadesh in the desert of Paran. They reported to them the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They said, we went into the land you sent us. Yes, it's true that it's flowing with honey and milk. This cluster of grapes, we have brought it. But the people who live there are powerful. The cities are fortified and very large. We saw the descendants of Enoch. Amalekites are living in the Negev. Hittites are there. Jebusites are there. Amorites are there. Jebusites are the occupiers of Jerusalem. So they are giving false report. But Caleb silenced the people before Moses said we should go up and take possession of the land. We can certainly do it. You see here, this is the land. They said we can, within a week they could have reached there. It takes only 7 days to reach the middle of Israel. Or 10 days. It took them 20 days up, 20 days down. So to reach middle is only 10 days. But God made them wander here 38 years because of their disobedience. See, this is what happened. So this is, we saw already. Next week, I will show you the remaining part of it. But remember all these stories. Don't forget it. Now, I have given the references. Go through it and read it so that you will not forget it. Let's pray. Father God, we praise and thank you for this wonderful evening. You brought so much of people to listen to your voice, Father. Help us to remember all these places, how Jacob became Israel, what happened to the idol worshippers in river Kishon, Arnon, 38 years, they reach near Arnon, the border of Gilead, all these places you taught us, Father. Help us to remember all these places. Sorek Valley, Bezar Valley. Thank you, Lord, for teaching us. If God willing, Father, next week we'll be learning more about the classification of the Old Testament. Next week I'll teach you the classification. Be prepared. Pray about it. Thank you again, Father. I bless all of them, those who spared their valuable time. I will commit every one of them. They may have questions, problems, pain, suffering. I pray that, Father, you will answer them. Heal them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you all for coming.